Hey, it's Steve Shikatens here. It's August 10th, 2020, and today the topic's going to be your one word. So, what I'm talking about here is what is the one word that kind of defines your life or means the most to you? I know someone I was listening to said their one word was believe. You know that they have belief in themselves and other people, and for some of you it might be power. The word think, attitude, creative, resolve, faith. You know, for me, I think my one word, I've thought about this a little bit, and I think my one word is courage. And you know, the opposite of courage is not cowardice. It's I heard Earl Nightingale said this. It's conformity. You know, it's this idea of conforming, and so courage. I think the reason it's courage is because I was thinking about whenever I'm talking to you on these videos or I'm making these videos, one common thing was always coming up, and it's don't give up. You know, as I feel like that there's been a lot of times in my life where I got to the point where, man, it just seemed like nothing was going right. Everything was against me. Everything that could possibly go wrong seemed to go wrong, and everything in me wanted to give up and just quit and just throw in the towel. And I just thought, well, I can do this another 10. It got down to I could do this another day, but it was even like I can do this another 10 minutes. You know, we got down to that point. But my point is not giving up. So part of that is sometimes we give up. You know, when we give up on ourselves. So I was reading. Emerson said this. He said, "What's the hardest?" He asked the question, "What's the hardest task in the world?" And it to think. That is the hardest side. So this is obviously so. It says here that when you consider that most of us are victims of mass thinking. In other words, letting the media, these kind of videos, do your thinking for you, and not thinking. So again, you know, this is where meditation comes in, and to meditate is just very simple. Just center, clear your mind, get still, get quiet, find a place. I mean, sometimes it might have to be in a closet. I think meditation is really close to what we call prayer, where you get focused and you just think about. You almost don't think, yet you do think. You let the universe or everything surrounding you come in, and for me, I like to get in a grateful place where, you know, I focus on what I'm grateful for. So grateful might be your one word. Focus might be your one word. It doesn't it's I would encourage you to ask the question, what is my one word? You know, what is that? And take some time and think about it. You know, think about what your one word is, and that it doesn't have to be something very complicated, and it might have to do with, like I said, for me, I thought about it and I was like, you know, don't give up is that's three words, but that's what keeps coming up, and that I've thought about in my life is just not, you know, in the you know, life's going to hand you some obstacles and some hard times and things that are going wrong. And I mean, you got to ask yourself sometimes the right question. And the right question might be, when you're going through super hard times, is what's great about this? What is absolutely wonderful about this? And you get yourself focused on a different frame of mind, and you can start using your imagination to come up with the answer. You know, it's a question. Sometimes we ask ourselves questions that don't have that are you know, not good. Like, why did this happen to me? You know, it's like, well, or we, and then the answer is well, that it, you know, it's not your fault. You know, and when you don't, if you don't take that responsibility, one of the phrases I like to use is I am responsible. And not only I am responsible, I have got I have plenty of money. You know, I mean, I was growing up, you know, we were always told, well, we don't have enough money for that, you know, whatever it was, you know, both my parents were school teachers. And so that was probably true that they just didn't have a lot of money. There wasn't a lot. And I always thought to myself when I was younger, someday I'm going to have enough money that I won't have to worry about this. And then when I started in business, it was like I always didn't have enough money, and it was that always the true. It was almost true that it seemed like I never had enough, and what the answer was just keeping my mind on that you know, using that, you know, really believing that there's plenty of money. There's plenty. I mean, there really is plenty of money out there, and I even say I have plenty of money. I don't. The money is not an issue, and you know, and when I'm focused on that there's a lack. When I'm focused on that lack and that there isn't enough, it just seems like there isn't enough. And when I focus on that there is enough, and that I know this sounds. I mean, as I'm saying it, even it sounds like, oh, this is just too good to be true. But in a sense, it is, because it isn't that simple. But the point is but it is that simple at the same time. And it's kind of a paradox. So you've got to be thinking that you've got to tell yourself there's plenty of money, there's plenty to go around, there's abundance out there. And when you think abundance will come. You know, what we focus on, we will come back to us. So when we're focused on abundance will come back. And it's really amazing. But if you focus on lack and poverty would come back. And so, you know, on the negative part, your one word might be something you need to change. Your one word might be lack. You know, if lack keeps coming back, or your one word might be anger, where anger, you know, if there's anger present all the time. And so this is something that we're thinking, you may have to use the mind to think and really be honest with yourself and say, what is my one word? And when that one word isn't what you want it to be, you need to be honest and say, what is it? And then if you find out that it is lack or fear or poverty, that you may need to change that to abundance. You know, I mean, what is great about that is that you can do the opposite. So if your one word is poverty, then abundance or wealth could be your new one word. And the great thing about that is that you can change it. And, you know, that's the neat thing about life. When you don't give up, just don't give up. You know, don't go to that place. You know, I remember when I was younger, I was probably 18, 19 years old, and I met this girl, and she was just, I thought she was wonderful. I wasn't pursuing her, but I thought, wow, this girl is really something. And what I didn't know is that she had some emotional problems, and I think she had some problems in the way she thought about things, but she was really just a beautiful girl, and she had all the potential in the world. And I believe what happened was she gave up, and she ended up committing suicide at like 21 years old, or 21 years old. And, you know, that didn't have to be that way. She could have, she just gave up, you know, and I know things got hard and tough on her, and in her perspective, it just wasn't worth, it wasn't worth going on anymore. And I understand that. I mean, we sometimes get to a place like that where it just isn't. We want everything in us wants to give up. We want to throw in the towel. And what I'm here to tell you is that when you hang on and don't give up, have the courage, and you know, and no matter what happens, you know, ask yourself the question, what's great about this? What's wonderful about what I'm going through, even in the bad things? You know, it's like something terrible happens, You know, I broke my leg and just shattered it, and it ruined. You know, I lost this trip that I planned on for a year, and you know, it was like $5,000. We lost all of that. I didn't have the insurance at the time, and I didn't ask myself that question, and so I believe it was a lot more difficult. But as I look back on it and say, what was wonderful about that is, what was great about that was you know, there was this time, you know, I got to spend 3 months of being I literally couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything for 3 months, and I was able to take some time and think, you know, and I was able to rest, you know, when I was working, and I looked at my life. That was what was great about it, is I was able to look and kind of reassess everything, and decide, you know, is working 18 to 20 hours a day good for me, and you know, and then I was able to take responsibility. That was my fault. I don't believe in accidents. You know, I was going too fast. I was pushing too hard, and I didn't slow down. You know, sometimes it's good to stop, you know, clean up a little bit. I mean, it was a forklift accident, and there was these little pellets, and they were on the ground. And if I'd have just stopped, got a broom and it might have took 10-15 minutes and cleaned that up, that would have never happened. So that was my fault. Like I said, there is no such thing as accidents, and that's what I believe. And I do believe too that how a person does one thing is how they do everything. And so, but again, ask yourself what that one word is. And even if you find out that what your one word is something you don't like, it might be resentment or bitterness might be your one word, and ask yourself what's great about that. And like for me, if my one word was bitterness, the great thing about that would be that I have an opportunity or a chance, as long as I don't give up, to change that around and turn it around. So I want to encourage you today that ask what your one word is, and ask yourself the right questions, and I think you'll find that you'll be ahead that way. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.